B is for brakes, beauty and boredom. This bike will stop.
I've come along at 40 miles an hour. I'm going to bring the bike to a halt, see whether there's any fault dive. Okay, the ABS kicked in there. Yeah, they're okay, there's not too bad at all.
It's got 2 times 320mm discs at the front and one 260mm disc at the back. The bike will stop. These brakes are plenty enough for an adventure bike and even complement the power of the engine, in theory. But they're not perfect in execution. When the brakes are working fine, they really do their job. But there have been quite a few warped discs in the early bikes, including mine.
But there is one shadow that has fallen across this land, well, at least across Ludwig land. For a while now I've noticed right from the start actually, the brakes squeaked at the front quite a bit, and they're fine, they'll stop you dead. They're very good brakes. But where they're not been so good is finessing in traffic when you just want to put a little bit of brake on, or you're doing sort of 2 or 3 miles an hour. They squeak quite a bit, and not pulse, but you can feel them grabbing and releasing.
Fortunately, the dealerships, in my experience, change them without quibble, and the replacements have been fine. The rear brake is good for an adventure bike. However, they fitted it with a rear brake line which is not up to the job, so a recall is underway. All in all then, they are very good brakes, in the new bikes at least. But we beta testers, that's the people who bought the bike early, have found issues. I have to say the dealers always sort out problems, with no argument in my experience, as far as they are able to anyway. One thing though, like many modern braking systems, a bloody squeak. I was watching the Missenden Fly complain about his Brembos on his Triumph the other day, and so it's not just KTM. And watching other 790 adventures in other videos, I've noticed the squeak too. So recently I decided to try and cure this, so I put a small amount of Plastilube on the back of the pads. I'm not doing a video on this, and I certainly don't advocate you messing about with your brakes. However, it appears so far, it's hard to tell under lockdown really, to have de-squeaked them. As I say, do not try this yourself. I didn't use the old faithful copper grease either, as I think it's susceptible to salt. Do not copy. Beauty. Is this bike beautiful? Well, I've never thought so, but I don't care so much about that. For the job it does, I guess it's form over function. I definitely think the 790R sits better and looks more purposeful, but then it's too tall for my liking. So, low centre of gravity, modern lights, 200mm of suspension. They kind of shape it, and I accept it for what it is, and it grows on you. Well, grew on me. Is this bike boring? No. It's quirky, it has its faults, but given the flexibility it's got, one thing it never is boring.